Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to Sunday Sessions. I'm so glad to see you all. Let me get my screen all set up and get the music cut down a little bit. Welcome back, man. Welcome back. Happy Sunday for all of you. I see so many of you in the chat already. I saw Muttley. I saw Mark. Oh, man, it's so good to see. Oh, man, so many more have jumped in since then. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, for those of you, if this is your first time, these are our Sunday sessions, man. This is sort of a sabbatical series right now, or sabbatical session where I normally have these things planned out weeks in advance. We've just been flowing throughout the summer while I do some infrastructure build, and while we kind of restructure and build ourselves a team. And there's a lot of exciting things happening. And so I have an incredible conversation planned for you today, but more on that later. Welcome in. Let me say hi to everybody. As you're coming in, do me a favor. If you haven't already, make sure to like the video, of course. But as you're coming in, introduce yourself to somebody. Find somebody you didn't know. Say hey to them. Make sure to get some connections, show some love, and all that good stuff. It's about community. Speaking of community, I do have some exciting announcements. NanoCon is this weekend. And I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna be doing a few things. And so I'd love to see you at NanoCon. That's the Nashville Nuns Convention, and I'm super excited about being there. I think I'm driving up Friday, and I'll be on my way back that Sunday. But it's gonna be super exciting. Would love to see you there. Also, and again, that's Nashville, Tennessee. So if you're in the Tennessee area, hey, this is a perfect time to holler at your boy. I'm gonna be there. Also, tap in for those of you who are looking to be a part or to help build. And obviously, I am kind of prioritizing the people who are going to help build, because you can't be a part of it if nobody's building it yet. But if you're going to be, if you want to be a part or help build some local community where you are in partnership with me in Bridge City, tap in. We have a beautiful website that you can go to and learn a lot more about what we do with BC Weekends, a lot more about what we do with these Sunday sessions, and how that can become a real thing where you are. And so tap in, man. And of course, after you tap in, respond to your emails and your texts and engage with those folk, man, because we have some exciting things happening. I think I've been kind of talking about this one all week, and I'm gonna move on. I don't want to take too much of your time, because I do have an exciting conversation. I got my beard all greased up for this one and everything. But I've been super excited all week long. I've actually probably overworked myself this week. But it's because we have some amazing things happening. Like right now, Southern California is our largest hub on the map. I should have planned to share my map, but go back and look at last time I did a live. I think I shared it then. But no, Southern California is growing beautifully, and it's not just pins on a map now. We actually got names, we have numbers, we're having conversations. Those people are getting connected through a WhatsApp. Certain people are taking on responsibilities. Major shout out to Robert in that area, who's become really one of our first hosts to really step up and say, yeah, I'm just going to do whatever we need to do to make it happen. I mean, he actually literally, he just robbed me of any excuses not to come to South Carolina, Southern California. He robbed me of any excuses. I was like, I can't do it because of this. No, we're going to make it happen. And so he's out there, he's communicating people, and man, he has an incredible heart so far that I've seen, of just loving people, trying to figure out where people are and figuring out ways that he can help. And that's what community is about. So if you want to be a part of this engine, this movement, go to the website, tap in. The link is in the description. Go to the website, do that. Also, we have our second monthly community meeting coming up. So for our patrons, our window shoppers, our BC 101 grads, and then some people who connected with me offline and just done some amazing things, I'm opening it up to them as well. So we're going to be doing those. Those are going to be monthly, just hangout sessions, nothing real major. We're just going to hang out, ask questions, and talk. Also, just in correlation with the tap in situation, which don't consider this the official announcement, but I am just kind of giving you the heads up that we're going to start weekly meetings for our Bridge City Global crew. And so that's for everybody who's tapped in, regardless of where you are. Our focus will be on what's going on in Southern California and strengthening that community, or strengthening that hub into a community. But everybody who's a part of that Bridge City Global family will be a part of those weekly training calls if you want to. And again, that's how we know where support is heating up at. And then, of course, speaking of support, there are a plethora of ways to support this work, whether you want to support me individually, whether you want to support Bridge City Global. All of the ways are in the links. All right, are y'all ready to have this conversation today? Because first, I have to address the elephant in the room. I was supposed to have a guest today, and I think you all saw that I had to change my thumbnail. I had to change the time. Now, Dr. Ray and I will still be doing our talk, but there are some things that have happened, and so we'll jump right into this. He and I talked yesterday, and he was actually, well, let's talk. So there's been a recent controversy that would have prevented our planned guest for this weekend from fully being able to engage at the level of depth standard to our Sunday session conversations. And Dr. Ray was really going to do all that he could to still be here. But me understanding the gravity of the situation that his organization is facing right now, I offered to reschedule. And so that's why, yes, it was last minute. That's why he did not want to reschedule. He did not want to do that to me because it was last minute. But I'm like, no, man, I understand. Your organization is facing something that is very significant, very important, and it needs your attention. And I get it. And, we can reschedule. The world doesn't end today. At least I didn't think it does. I didn't think it did. But so we're still good. But in acknowledgement of the unfortunate circumstances that have kind of led to this battle, I would like to share a few of my own thoughts briefly to platform this weekend's conversation. So I won't say too much on it because, of course, I'm the outsider looking in. But from my limited understanding as an uninvolved outsider, recovering from religion, which is a mental health and peer network support group offering services for those who've been negatively impacted by religion, was accepted as a nonprofit vendor to set up a resource table at the St. John's Pride in the Park parade. And this is in Canada, I believe. And from my understanding, the reason they wanted to set up this table is because they have members of recovering from religion who are a part of the Pride community who live in that area. And they wanted to be able to set up a resource table so that they could meet their members who are a part of the Pride community who live in that area. And so that also those members could meet each other. Okay. Shortly afterwards, they were officially excluded from participation, with the initial reason being a lack of representation or connection to the Pride community. Which I found shocking, even when I saw that. My first official encounter with recovering from religion was last year. And actually, I did a video when I got back. I went to the Recovering from Religion Fall excursion, had a wonderful time. I am pleased to report that there were a considerable amount of people at the convention who identified as a part of the Pride community. It seemed to be natural and normal. So when they said this lack of representation, I was like, that's interesting, especially connection. Well, because that obviously had no grounds in reality, recovering from religion's leadership persisted for the real reason, for their exclusion. And the response was that their faith communities found RFR's message alienating and troubling. So they're members of the trans community, the members of the Pride community who were faith-based found RFR's messaging alienating and troubling. Okay. Now, I do want to clarify that Recovering from Religion is not an anti-religious organization. They are not an atheist organization. They are a mental health and peer network support group. Okay. So they do not proselytize. They do not actively try to deconvert or engage in anything like that. But what this was, from my understanding, and again, I've already said I'm an uninvolved outsider, but from my understanding, this sounds like a small group of progressive Christians who have latched themselves on to the Pride movement are now trying to gatekeep who gets to be a part. Okay. So to the pride community, I would like to say, be very careful, because it's moments like these that set a precedent. All right. To the secular humanist who have fought for marriage equality, against discrimination, and in support of pride communities and celebration and affirmation, to be watchful, because it is moments like these that set a precedent. It's moments like these where others are making the conscious decision to write you out of the story. In my humble opinion, this is a classic move of changing the narrative. This is, I've seen this happen in families. I've seen this happen in churches. I've seen this happen in businesses. Hell, I've even seen this play out on the playground. Moments like these are why so many people believe that the civil rights were a Christian won victory. Progressive Christianity is still just colonization with a prettier dress, okay? The whole point is for their answer to be the only answer, for their way to be the only way. And if you are an atheist or a non-believer, you are either a mission field or the opposition to even the most progressive Christians in many cases. They do not have a worldview that represents the freedom of humanity if it is not surrendered to whichever version of Christ that they ascribe to, progressive or not. So at the end of the day, they want a version of the story where their God gets the glory. Okay, so if you're a humanist or any type of differently believing person or differently identifying institution, you can't exist in their story if you're not a villain or a convert. Oh my goodness. And see, this is more than just about one organization. Good people go through this every day. You can be the one keeping that family together, but because you don't go to the family church, nobody can say thank you without condescending you. You can be the one working your ass off to get that company through its second quarter rush, but you keep getting overlooked for promotion because you don't go to the business prayer meeting. You went out, started a feeding program, and the churches showed up and started taking the credit for it. Come on now. An atheist started the civil rights movement, but we can only remember the preacher. This isn't on accident. I want to say you've been had. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled. You know where I'm going with this. Because it's not just about writing you out. It's about how they get to recast your character. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, it's not just about keeping you from the table. It's not just about them writing you out. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, this is why I'm talking about it a little bit. And this is an introduction. This ain't even my conversation today. I just wanted to mention this in the introduction, because what you have is people actively trying to rewrite the story by trying to keep humanists away from the table. And I'm trying to tell you, it's not about keeping them away from the table. It's about writing us out. It's about recasting our character. By saying that you were not there, they get to claim that you did not care. Oh, and see, that's strategic. That's strategy, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Oh, man. If others can keep writing out the caring contributions of humanists, atheists, and otherwise secular people, it'll make it even more difficult to break free from religious indoctrination, because remember, the ability to write you out is about the capacity to recast your character. Then they get to say stuff like atheist or humanist or secular folk only care about themselves and no one else. They just want to play video games and have sex. I can have sex and change the world at the same damn time. Damn, that was a cold ass line. I'm gonna have to remember that one. All right, all right. And they say stuff like we have no morality or no compass for our ethics. And yet when history is rightfully told, every time in the past 600 years at least that humanity has taken a leap forward in progress, it has been undeniably because of the strategy and the sacrifice of secular humanists, or at least critical thinkers. But then the church gets to show up, rewrite the story, and give God all the glory. That's how the same God who condones slavery gets the credit for emancipation and liberation. That's how the same God who condemns homosexuality gets the credit for LGBTQ inclusion. Because the people who did the work keep getting Christ washed out of history. That's what it's. Oh man. Thank you for the super chats. Y'all are beautiful. Since I don't have an interview, I can read these. Thank you, Corey Flowers. Thank you for helping me get over the anger I had. That's beautiful. I appreciate you. Let me see. Ka Cinema. I like that. Just wanted to say I realized I was agnostic about a year ago, and your videos have helped me sort out some things I'd struggle with. Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that, man. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And so when you understand what's at stake here, you begin to see it. It's just like, no, this is about writing secular folk out of the story. Like, this is, no matter how, I get it. There's some progressive Christians out there that are probably wonderful people. But if their end goal at the end of the day is for their king to be king of everybody, that's always going to be problematic. And they're always going to end up doing stuff like this. All right. All right. So let's jump into it. So why do you think I'm so passionate about building local communities? Because I'm trying to build the change, watch this, that I needed to see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this is why even when we're talking about Bridge City Global, especially when we're talking about it in local manifestations, I am very careful to not try to refine it to what I need, because every local community is going to have to craft its own identity based off of the needs of the people who are bringing it together. I hope I'm saying something that's helpful already, but I'm trying to build the change that I needed to see. I'm trying to build the bridge that would have gotten me out of the bullshit faster. Does that make sense? And all it would have taken was for me to find one place. Listen to me. All it would have taken was for me to find one place that met up every week and talked about, explored, and operated in the goodness of humanity. That's all it would have. Oh my goodness, you don't understand. If my 13-year-old self, my 11-year-old self, my 15-year-old self, hell, even my 17-year-old self, and I'm looking for a place to go, and what y'all doing in here? Wait a minute. So y'all just come together because y'all love people? You can do that? Like, no imaginary friend needed. Like, hold up, man. Like, so y'all just show up every week because you're committed to personal growth without pretending? Like, what? That would have blown my mind. You telling me y'all sing songs just to help people celebrate themselves and reflect? That y'all feed people because they people and they hungry? Not because you're trying to trick them into eternal slavery to he who sits on the throne? Whoa! That's why I'm so passionate about building community, because I know for a fact, oh, if I would have ran into that as a 13-year-old, man, it would have been, oh. So you mean to tell me I can do all these things I love because what I loved was the music. What I loved was helping other people feel good. What I loved was being useful. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand why it's so attractive to an orphan for church. What I loved was feeling loved, feeling needed. And if I could have found a place that wasn't grounded in bullshit, oh my goodness, that's what I needed to see. And I think that's why many of you connect with these Sunday sessions, because yes, it is the preaching without the pretending. You know what I'm saying? It's purpose. without perfection. It's figuring it out without needing to call it faith. It's being honest without needing to be holy. It's just human. It's just being human. And this is often what we are robbing ourselves of and the world around us. We are robbing them of our own humanity when we're not organizing around our values. We're not making our humanism, our humanity visible, tangible, and accessible as a source of strength and support. You know, but we're going to walk this thing today. So many people are struggling with meaning making, with trauma, with finances, with health, with purpose, hell, just even community. Some people are so lost in their despair that they don't even know that community is what they're missing, because they've never even imagined the possibility of community without control, condemnation, or Christ. And there is an entire indoctrinated society of believers who are committed to reinforcing this idea that Jesus is the only way. This is a call designed to keep people from exploring better ways, when in reality, what most people are looking for is a better way. Do you know what you do to the mind when you are young and you're curious and you're looking for better ways, and then you get inundated with message that this is the only way? Can you imagine what that does to the curiosity of the mind? What it does to those neurons, man, where you go from looking for better ways to being told that no, this is the only way. And for those of you who didn't know, that's actually why Bridge City Global exists. We exist to be a better way. Oh man, I hope y'all hear this. So today I want to share with you 6 reasons why our intentional connection and affiliation as a community of humans becoming as opposed to humans believing. I want to talk about why it's so necessary, while also highlighting how it will change the world. And I'm hoping that those of you who signed up to be hosts or leads for Bridge City, wherever you are, will gain a great deal of clarity, courage, and commitment to build the bridge. If this is a conversation that you find worth tuning into, type "let's go" in the chat, because it's about to go down. Today, I'm giving you 6 reasons why it is necessary to build community, and actually how it will help us change the world. And this is, again, I had to do this last minute, y'all. I forgot what we used to call these back in the church days, but I did have to do this last minute. But I have so much to talk about on this subject that I'm ready for it. And so even though it was a hit, because I was ready to talk about sex today. Oh my goodness. Like, I had so many sex jokes primed up. Oh, I was ready. Like, that was one right there. Giggity. So like, I was ready. So I was a little disappointed, but I did realize it, once, I said, okay, no, we'll reschedule. I said, this is a perfect opportunity, because Bridge City Global, like, those pins are popping up over the map. This is a perfect opportunity to talk to some of you out there who your curiosity is all over the place. And so that's what we're gonna do. So at Bridge City Global, we believe in the transformative power of community. So you'll hear me say 2 phrases that sometimes will seem interchangeable. One is you'll hear it as community as a service, and you'll hear it as community as a solution. DLDD World Group basically exists. That's everything I'm working on. Exists as a community, as a service ecosystem. Bridge City Global, in its local manifestation, exists to be community as a slogan, community as a solution, which for me, that's more than just a slogan. It's a philosophy that recognizes that the collective strength we possess when we come together to address challenges, foster growth, and create lasting change. And so I want to dive in, and for us together to kind of discover how embracing community can be the solution to many of the challenges we face individually and collectively. And I want to hit this for a lot of reasons. Because oh man, I got to kind of be a little transparent, and it might sound petty. But there are other options, right? There are other options. There are other people doing stuff that looks like Bridge City. There are. Probably can't tell because it doesn't really look like Bridge City. And there's a reason for that. I worked in ministry for nearly 2 decades. There are things that you see, there are things that you learn. And of course, I share all of that freely, sort of, But most people, when they think of community, they only think of church. And yes, some churches did an absolute wonderful job at creating community. Most churches sucked at it. And the ones that you think did a good job at it are not the ones that did a good job at it. And the ones that you think suck at it are the ones who excelled at it. Because most times, most times when people think of community, they're thinking of personal preference. They're pulling on emotion, not an actual understanding of the utility of community. Oh yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. So when most people say, oh, I love this church because it felt like community, what you mean was like they ate sometimes and you liked the food. What you meant was everybody knew each other's name. What you meant was you could show up without doing anything and just roll out when you got ready to. Sometimes what we call community is actually the absence of accountability. Woo! Uh-oh. So we have to, what I'm saying, because I just gave you a bunch of different ways that we often define community that actually has absolutely nothing to do with the utility of community, which is why we waste it. I remember when I first started doing interviews, I remember being in a conversation and it was live. I wish I can go back and catch this one because it was so good. And, people were all talking about how they missed having people to hang out with, and how they missed, just having people to do stuff with. And then I mentioned that, do you know where that often comes from? That often comes from people you were working on something with. All right. But we so often reduce the idea of community of just people to hang with. Okay, let me tell you something. This is why families are wasting away right now, because everything we plan is a hangout session. Oh man. I am talking better than y'all are responding today. Okay, apparently y'all are not getting Bridge City Darante today. Apparently y'all are getting Mastermind Darante. I'm sorry. We'll get to Bridge City in a minute. But no, like every time you get together with your family members, the people that you already know, people that you already trust, the only thing you do is just hang out. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Yeah, this is why the family is falling apart. Oh. See, we were told a family that prays together stays together. No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. No, brother, a family that paves together stays together, okay? A family that works together, oh yeah, they get much further, all right? But we are literally, and I don't know if it's religion that has taught us how to do this or if it's society itself, but we are literally wasting our relationships. Oh my goodness. Okay, I got to get out of Mastermind, Darante. Because honestly, this ain't even conversation I have for free right here. This ain't even conversation I have for free. And there's 2 reasons I don't have this type of conversation for free. Number one, it is highly offensive to some folks. Oh, when you have to start telling people that you are wasting your relationships, oh man, you got to have tough skin to hear stuff like that. And then when you got to walk through the details of all the ways that you are wasting those relationships, and see, then at that moment, then I have to do tug of war with you Yeah, no, that's gonna come. That comes at a higher ticket price. How did Jay-Z say it? You hear that? That's the sound of the price going up. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's get back. Let's get back. Let's get back to Bridge City D. Let's get back to Bridge City D. But no, like in all honesty, and some of that is going to be in here because ultimately I should have named this conversation the utility of community. That's what I should have named it. So let's hit this first one. Oh man, the first thing that community gives you that most people do not think about, and I think I've kind of talked about this when we first opened up this series, is that community gives you a space, especially if you're doing intentional community, and that's what we're going to be unpacking today. It gives you a space for personal growth and development. Okay, man, you got to think about it, right? You got to think about it. If I'm a part of a community, because community is a big word. You know, it's not like saying I'm a part of a project. It's not like saying I'm a part of a group. It's not like saying I'm a part of a team. You know, it's not even like saying I'm a part of a department. This is a very big word. If I'm a part of a community, I'm identifying with a community. We throw this word around so much that we've completely robbed it of what it means. And when we're using words like community, you're in ecosystem territory. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. You're in ecosystem territory when you're talking about community. When we're becoming a community, that means the thing that I am connected to, watch this, it is feeding me and I am feeding it. All right. Oh yeah, we're getting into some Uhuru territory here. Community is that level where we're not just on the same team. It's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, goodness gracious. It's not just we live in the same neighborhood. I got fuzzy for a minute. Okay, I'm back. It's not just that we live in the same neighborhood. It's that whatever I want for myself, I want you to be able to have that same type of existence, that same type of experience, that same type of liberty. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. It is essential that we highlight emotional intelligence. Thank you. We're in the ecosystem territory. So when you are part of a community, man, not only do you want to grow, you want others to grow. You want others to grow. Now, let me immediately highlight why that's often scary for us. Because many of us come from context where somebody else gets to define the growth. Most of us come from context where someone gets to tell you what your growth journey should look like, how fast it should be going, how slow it should be going, what you should be aiming for, what you should not be aiming for. And it is absolutely unreal for us to imagine that, you know what, we could come together and work on personal growth and have the understanding that everybody is still responsible for their own journey. Because I'll tell you, pastors, when they come out and tell the truth, that's a lot of fucking pressure anyway. Having to make up answers for everybody you meet. Who wants to do that shit all the time? No, yeah, I know what you're supposed to be, the Lord's. This is why everybody you know is a prophet to the fucking nations. Because pastors got tired of having to make up new shit and just started repeating the same script. Everybody's, you be a prophet to the nations, you be a prophet to the nations. Oh, you having a little girl, guess what? Prophet to the nations. Bam. You know. Oh my God. So personal growth and development. Personal growth is a journey best traveled with others. Within a community, individuals find support, encouragement, and accountability that propel them towards their goals. There are literally too many people on this planet for us to be doing life alone, right? There's just so much we have to, and especially for those of you who are out there and who are Bridge City leads and Bridge City hosts who've tapped in, this is so important. of helping people deconstruct their own fears when it comes to this stuff. Because sometimes people hear goals and all they hear is punishment. They hear goals and all they hear is punishment. I got to punish myself because that's how they see discipline. Most people see discipline is me forcing myself to do the right thing. Most people see discipline is me beating myself up for not getting right and modifying my behavior through pain. That is a really bad way to look at discipline. It is a really unhealthy way to look at discipline. But when you grew up in a society where discipline originated with the fucking war god, that's what you get. You know, that's not even that damn far of a slip. If your God is a war god and he's responsible for defining what is discipline, then, oh my goodness, then everything is punishment. You see, it's not healthy. But that is not what discipline is. Discipline is not behavior modification through pain. That's punishment. That's punitive. Okay? Discipline is intentional, internal behavioral modification for goal alignment. Okay? I find that goal alignment works better than threats, than punishments, or anything else. What do you want? But most people have never been given the safety or the freedom to even play with that question long enough to figure it out. You know? But I promise you, God damn it, I'm back in the mastermind, D. Sorry, y'all. If you give yourself the space and the safety to actually figure out what you want out of life, nobody's going to have to tell you what to do to get it, because then you're going to want it. And that's all that's going to matter, because then you're going to do whatever it takes to get it, because you've finally given yourself permission to want it. Oh man, y'all don't. Oh, this is Mastermind D. Sorry, that sounds sexual. I probably shouldn't say it that way. But no, this is Mastermind Darante. When you know what you want, then it ain't. I'm not punishing myself. I'm changing what I'm doing to get something different. It doesn't even have a positive, negative connotation to it. It's not even, oh, I can't believe I used to do that. It's just like, oh, now that I know this is what I want, this is what I need to do to get closer to that direction. Oh, that's how simple it is, man. Oh, God damn, this is good. All right, back to Bridge City Darante. Can't say Bridge City D. I don't think so. Damn, there's so many jokes because today was supposed to be sex day, so you're getting a lot of giggity left over from that. All right, so, oh, damn. See, now it's going to be hard to be serious. All right, so let's continue. Let's talk about how community facilitates personal development. It's three main areas that community allows you to do. And again, for our Bridge City host, for our Bridge City leads, I really hope y'all are listening very closely, right? Because this is going to be your responsibility to kind of craft out. So community facilitates personal development in three main ways, or by giving us access to three main things. Number one, support networks. Number two, shared resources. And number three, diverse perspectives. All right. So just using, because we're all familiar with it. Churches are not the only places that meet weekly, but we're familiar with it. So let's just using the church as an example. If you were a member of a church and that church was decent at community, you were likely going to have access to a support network from day one that you joined. Whether that support network was the membership body of the church, or that support network could have been, at least for many times it was for me, the music team. You know, early days, it was the youth team, churches that were smart enough to actually start building student ministries. I was actually a part of that cutting edge move. I'm the one that gave us young adult ministries. You're welcome. You're welcome. Now let me stop. But churches that started doing these things, you got access to a support network. Some even went as far as to, especially some of the bigger churches, you joined and you're struggling with addiction. Guess what? We have an addiction program here. Now, none of those things exist because of any form of superstition. All of those things exist because this is what happens when people start coming together about themselves. This is what we do, right? So support networks, communities provide a safety net where members can share struggles and successes, where peer encouragement boosts confidence and resilience. There's also shared resources. And, a lot of times when we think shared resources, we automatically go to money. And I'm going to talk about money later. You can't talk about community without talking about money. So I'm going to talk about money. And I'm not a Christian, so I don't believe that God magically supplies. So no, we're going to talk about money. But when I'm talking about shared resources, when it comes to personal growth within the context of community, you're getting access to collective knowledge, skills, and experience. And this accelerates learning. It does. It accelerates learning. You can watch it in any context. Number one, we have to take learning out of, we have to stop locking the idea of learning into the context of classical education, right? You are always learning, all right? At any moment in time, you are learning. Okay. And so most conversations you're having, you're learning. And if you notice when you're having conversations with different people who have who have access to different sides of that elephant, who have different skills, different insight to the conversation, it accelerates your ability. It impacts your ability to understand the subject matter. All right. So when we're talking about shared resources, man, we're literally talking about those shared conversations with other people. Mentorship opportunities arise naturally within supportive groups. Okay. And then diverse perspectives, which I wanted to hit this one in all of them, because that's what you hear when you hear people share their struggles and successes. All right. Like, so one thing you will notice about me, the closer you get to me, I really try to stay away from any type of ideology that just says there's only one way to do something, or if you do it this way, it's going to fail, or if you have to do it this way in order for it to succeed. Because to me, that's like a red flag of pseudo intelligence. Because it's like the more you wrestle with a thing, like the more you spend time wrestling with a thing, something becomes incredibly clear. And that is, the more variables impact a thing, the more the thing changes. And maybe, I don't know, maybe just as a former pastor or a sociologist, I don't know which one it is in me, but I realize that every fucking person is an independent variable. Okay. So what works for you may not work for me. And so I love to hear people just share, instead of telling me what I should do, just tell me what you did and how it went for you. And I love that. And I think we all love that. It's when we get so tempted to start telling other people, since I did this, you should do this shit too. Hey, player, you don't know me. I'm not in astrology, but someone just did a Taurus meme about that, and I was like, damn, I hate this shit when it's accurate. I love it when it's wrong, but man, I hate it when it's accurate. Because like, don't tell me. Don't. And the reason my mind goes there is because I already know what you don't know. All right. Like, there's so much you couldn't possibly know about my life and the different variables that are involved. There's just so much. So don't do that. Don't. I'd rather people show up with an open hand than an open mouth. Please. Oh my God. Okay. See, I just went back to Mastermind D. I got to come back. Back to Bridge City. Back to Bridge City. Be loving. Come on. Be better than that. All right. So let's go. Diverse perspectives. Diverse perspectives. You get exposure to different viewpoints, and that fosters critical thinking and empathy. Okay? Oh man. I am like, and you can't always tell by my videos because I am somewhat of a performer, but I am a big ball of empathy. I am a huge ball of empathy. And I do think a part of it is my wiring, right? It's that wiring. Um, it was one of the reasons I was so susceptible to the more charismatic branches of churches. And I've told people this before. As a child, I was an atheist. I did not believe in God. I was pretty sure that that was all mythology because none of the adults I knew seemed to believe in a real God. Like they didn't. I mean, they said the words, but they also said the shit about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy too. And I was paying attention. Like I saw you when you put the little quarter on the old boy pillow. Like, you know, when you the little orphan in somebody else's house, they don't hide that shit from you. The magic isn't for you when you're the orphan, okay? It's for the other kids, all right? So you see all the shit, you know. But I was pretty sure there was no God. And the people I knew, they didn't live like they actually believed in a heaven or a hell. Nobody I knew was trying to get to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like, not for real. I could make a joke there about this one time I was locked in the room with my mom while she was trying to get to heaven. Damn, that joke can go so many different ways, and either way, it's not good. So I'm gonna pass that one. All right. So I didn't see any of that. But charismatic churches, those Pentecostal, because I got started at those little holiness ones, they, oh my goodness, they acted like they believed that there was a real God. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. You know, I'm still young, I'm still 11 around this time. So I'm like, maybe there is something to this. But because I'm such a big ball of empathy, partly because of my wiring, all of the emotional resonance that's available in those high energy services, that activated so much within me. It stimulated so much within me. And much of it aligned with the narrative that they had already created about humanity. So now they have a reason for my weird. Oh, man. Oh, church was able to give me a reason for my weird, because then it's like, oh, man, that's why you're like this, because you're anointed. Yep. Oh, man. See, I see it now. See, look at it. Look at the tears. The tears coming already. That's the power of God. Oh, son, God has his hand all over you. So that's what this is. This is why nobody likes me, because I'm anointed. Okay, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. You know, like that's where I was. That's where I was at, and that's how I actually started believing, because they gave me reason for my weird, which is why I said earlier, man, if at 11, 12, or 13, I would have walked into a space that was doing all of those same things, well, except for the casting out devils and shit, but doing many of those same things, just having a good time with music and conversation, and then actually being able to explain what that is, instead of building this false narrative that I lived, or at least tried to live my life within, for the next 2 decades. All right. So anyway, exposure to diverse viewpoints fosters critical thinking and empathy. So another part that a lot of my empathy came from, or that I say another part of my empathy comes from, and pastors do wrestle with this, is you have to see a lot of shit. You have to counsel a lot of people. You know, you have to watch a lot of people try their hardest. See, like so many times when people want to talk to me about my life as a pastor, they want to talk about all of the scandalous stuff. And it's like, it's not really a lot of that. You know, I mean, yes, there's enough to talk about for damn sure. But for me, it's more of the heartbreaking things. You know, I think when secular people view pastors, if you've never been a part of it, your assumption is that all pastors are just these scam artists, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some, but they're not traditionally the type of scam artists you think of. In many cases, they've already been scammed themselves. They're like at the mid-level of the MLM type of thing. you know? But it was the heartbreaking things, like having to find reasons why God wasn't showing up. Like, can you think of, like, you watch somebody who you know is showing up to church faithfully, who you know is paying their tithes, who you know is treating everybody right, at least look like they is, you know? And then life just starts falling apart for them. They lose their job, their husband walks away or whatever. Just life just goes bananas, and they're coming to you, and you trying to figure out why. Like, do you know how heartbreaking that is? And that's just way too much pressure. Nobody should have to be Inspector Gadget for anybody else's life. Like, whoa. But that's what many pastors had to become. Pastor, I don't know. I'm tithing. Yeah, you tithing. The CFO showed me the report. You tithing. Pastor, I'm praying. Yeah, you've been at every prayer meeting. And now that pastor has to, they're both dealing with cognitive dissonance at that moment. I've done everything that I was supposed to do. You've done everything you're supposed to do. God didn't show up. God didn't show up. Okay, I either have to find a way to justify why God didn't show up, you know? And in most cases, that's going to be, well, maybe you got some secret sin. Another default that many pastors go to. All right, so, but after seeing stuff like that, you can end up developing a whole lot of empathy. And I think a lot of that is what kind of gave birth to the more seeker-friendly churches. I think pastors really got burnt out with having all the answers and having to figure shit out, because damn, it's not great. All right, so next one, or I'm going to get stuck here. So practical applications, this is very easy to identify. Workshops and seminars, when you're part of a community, you can make these types of things available. You can organize events that are focused on personal development topics like goal setting, time management, and emotional intelligence. This is ultimately our Sunday sessions that we do every week are ultimately just like seminars that are focused either on personal growth or community development, sometimes mixed with a little bit, of both. That's all this is. Because it's I got it one day. It's the people, stupid. Talk about stuff that helps people. All right. You can pair experienced members with those seeking guidance in specific areas, and you can form small groups where members can share goals and track progress together. Now, if you're a host, if you're a lead, or even if you're just somebody who say, I'm going to volunteer in one of these local hubs that we have growing, whether it's Southern California, whether it's North Carolina, where we have like a tight hub growing in the Raleigh area. I just don't have any of them on my active list. So I need y'all to tap in, But you can model growth, demonstrate a commitment to your own personal development. Like, this is one of the most beautiful things. And I don't know if Robert is watching or not. But it's one of the things that I absolutely love. I think that's what's making him an effective host so far. And we haven't even got started yet officially in Southern California. We're just at WhatsApp level, But I think what's making him an effective host so far is that he does have a commitment to his own personal development. And it really just kind of oozes off of him whether it's in his comments in Bridge City 101, if you're not enrolled, get there, or whether it's in his engagement with others. And so that's absolutely beautiful. So you model growth, and then you facilitate connections, help members find resources. And sometimes those resources are just finding other people. That's like the most helpful thing you can do right now if you're in a local area. And again, if you go to our BC Weekends website, and it's in the description, there is a map of everyone who's tapped in. Now, you're not going to get their name or their number or anything like that. We're not doing it like that. But there's a map of everyone who's tapped in, so you can see what it's looking like in your area, And so one of the things you can do after you've kind of been vetted a little bit, you can start helping those members find each other. You can start helping those members find resources that support their growth. And then, of course, encourage participation, invite members to engage in activities and that challenge and inspire them. It's literally being that space. That's one of like the foundational commitments of community, is being the space that these people need, you know. Ooh, this is good. This is good. All right. All right. So let's go to the next one: social exploration and education. So we talked about personal growth and development, but there's also this idea of social exploration and education. All right. Communities are fertile learning grounds for exploration and education. Through interactions with others, we expand our understanding of the world and ourselves. All right. Just through that interaction, through that communal interaction, we get some of the benefits that we get from that are cultural exchange. So learning about different cultures and traditions, it broadens our horizons and it fosters inclusivity. This is actually one of the ways that I think the secular community can be a stark solution to some of the diversity issues we've had, especially in this country, because even in highly diverse areas like California, it's still rare to find highly integrated churches, you know. And then even when you do, the integration level is so low. Like when I say low, it's just black folk and white folk. And it's like, y'all do know there are other people in the world, right? It's not just black and white folk. That's how we treat it sometimes, though. I be feeling bad for everybody else. It's like, damn, man, there's so much in between that spectrum. Like, stop it. Okay, I'm back. But these type of things foster inclusivity, and I think this is an area that we as a secular community, that the Bridge can actually be a model for more inclusivity. That would be one hell of an accomplishment if all of our Bridge City Global, our Bridge City local campuses were highly diverse. But even right now, as our little founding team for DLDD World Group is shaping up, it's already a highly diverse team. And that wasn't necessarily the aim, but that it just ended up happening, that's what I love. I love when we live our lives in such a way where we're just inclusive. Isn't that nice just to be that way? So you also get idea generation. And this is a little bit mastermind me. Collaborative environments stimulate creativity and innovation, right? Everybody thinks they're not creative. Everybody thinks they don't have good ideas until they start collaborating with other people. And it's really hard to create collaborative environments where no one's intentionally doing so, because collaboration is intentional. Like, this shit don't just happen on accident unless you're unless you're strongly drawn together by something that you're truly passionate about, because collaboration is a choice. It is a choice, right? Like everybody who's signed up for Bridge City Global, everybody who's tapped in, are people who are choosing to collaborate with others. That's been something that I've been pushing at least since February now. And I think that's why we have like over 80 students in BC 101 now. If we can get all 80 of them in there active, that would be beautiful. But I think that's why we got these pins growing, because I've been reinforcing that, like, hey, this isn't a celebrity movement where you're signing up to be my fan. I promise you, I'm not that interesting. Like, if you notice, like, I don't do social proof video clips. I'm not like, hey, this is how Ron is living, because my life is actually fairly boring. I don't practice what everybody else preaches, but I do practice what I preach. And so the things that I'm talking about is the shit that I do every day. I'm doing it like all the damn time. Y'all see me doing it, right? But collaborative environments stimulate creativity and innovation in ways that you cannot believe. And then, of course, you also get lifelong learning here, which continuous education keeps the mind active and adaptable to change. This is one of the most beautiful moments of community. All right, so practical applications. So discussion groups host regular sessions to explore topics of interest or current events. Now, you can go back to videos since last year, when these were like fully branded as like Bridge City Global Sunday sessions. Now they're just Sunday sessions, because I started putting weight on people, and I'm glad I did. I literally started using the verbiage, hey, Bridge City doesn't exist until y'all start doing stuff. And so that's why I just switched it. And it was just like, it's just Sunday sessions until Bridge City actually exists, because at that moment back in February, it was an idea. And now it's starting to exist. That is so beautiful. That was fast, y'all. That was fast. But you can go back to videos last year and where I was sitting down, literally walking through unfolding. I think that series was Thesis of Secular Community, which I'm probably going to redo it. But I was walking through like bits and pieces, like, no, this is what, if I was building a Bridge City local campus right now where I was, this is what it looked like. I was walking through the whole thing. And then and one of the things I was talking about was the most important thing, and this is something that we could be doing now, even groups. I haven't put this weight on our Discord moderators yet, because they just got in place, which they're doing a phenomenal job. Shout out to Mark and Zen. But I haven't put this weight on them yet, but it's going to fall in their territory soon. And it's something I wanted us to be doing way back when, was groups. Oh man, it's just simple groups. I think sometimes we get so pigeonholed into the idea of starting the new hot thing. And I'm like, there's never such thing as a new hot thing, because what's hot to you is not hot to somebody else. So what's actually happened is there are several kernels popping at the same time, baby. All right. You gotta, oh damn, why am I switching back to Mastermind D? Okay. There are several kernels popping at the same time. If anything's popping, a bunch of things are popping. All right. That's so when people, oh, this is the new hotness. Nope, there's hotness everywhere. That's how the sun works. Shit, this is good. Okay. But what is the point that I'm trying to make there? Anyway, nope. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So practical applications, discussion groups. Yes, we need groups. I got the point back. We need groups. And so instead of saying, what can we have one group that everybody would be interested in? No. Create varying groups, multiple groups that people have the options to join when they're interested and leave when they're not, to come when they're curious and not when they're not. It's actually like that simple. If there's enough people say, oh, well, we'll start a book reading club because enough of us read books. And then you say, oh, y'all are reading this time. I'm gonna bow out. I don't really like this author, but I'll catch y'all back next time. And then somebody says, well, I still want to be doing something. So, maybe I'll start a bowling club, or I don't know. Like, I'm literally being facetious with this because it could be anything, and it actually should be anything, because that's how the nexus of learning works. It's not, hey, can somebody else find what I'm interested in and then I go follow them? It's like, hey, I'm interested in this. Let me see if I can find some other people who are interested in this within the confines of my community. And that's what community gives you access to. It gives you access to people that you can say, hey, you want to do this thing together? And like, that is the most, do you know how powerful that is to have that? I'm back in full mastermind mode right now. Do you know how powerful that is in life, just to have people that you can go to and say, hey, you want to do this thing together? And they say, yeah, let's do it. Like, that is life-changing. In many cases, that is the difference between success and failure. Just having somebody say, hey, you want to do this thing with me? That's the power of community. Oh my goodness. That's the power of community. It's finding people, and you say, hey man, I ain't watched Voltron in a few years. Let's put together a Voltron group. We're just gonna get together and talk about Voltron. And somebody say, oh, that's silly. But like, y'all don't get it, man. Like, that's how I know, like, some people, like, I guess I've done so much in my life, right? I've done so much in my life. I've been in plays. I've been in full stage productions. I've been in musical performances. I've been a pastor. I've been in corporate America. I've been a trainer. Hell, I've even been a telemarketer. Like, one of the bad ones too. Out, in my fairness, like my defense, I was like in 10th grade, 11th grade, something like that. But I've done so many things, and have had so many conversations that it's just all the same to me. You know? That's why, like, I guess a part of that's being a preacher too. You got to do that as a preacher. Like you have to make some boring shit relevant. Like you have to make it exciting. And I did a pretty good damn job at it. You know what I'm saying? But all of it, it's not even the subject matter that really matters. It's the fact that people are coming together and talking about it. And out of that, and just here's a little sneak peek. It's just spoiler alert about the way humans work. Whatever the subject is, we're going to impose whatever it is that we're really wanting to share at that moment on the subject. The subject itself is just a medium. The group itself is just a medium. You know, they say, hey, we're gonna get together and we're gonna fish. We're gonna talk about fishing. But they're gonna actually get in there and talk about life. You know? And that's what you're gonna realize, even as you go through different groups. Some of them will have different mediums for the conversation. But at the end of the day, it'll be the same conversation. It's that conversation about life, about you, about others, learning them. Oh, man. And of course, educational events, again, our Sunday sessions are kind of those. Organized lectures, book clubs, or guest speaker sessions, right? All right, so now this is another slept on benefit of being a part of an intentional community, right? Well, and I got to highlight two here, which I think I've talked about this one before. Like, this is something that we have to look at when you're thinking first, second, third order systems of consequences, or systems of thinking. But yeah, first, second, third order consequences. You have to think about communities create platforms. Platforms attract people who want to do something. So, like, just by the existence of humanist communities, creating humanist platforms, that does create the opportunity for young folk to say, you know what? I think I'd like to do something like that with my life. Now, see, if those platforms don't exist, if those communities don't exist, then anybody who determines, I think I'd like to do something like that with my life, they're going to have to pull that shit out of mud. Which is pretty much like what our founding team is having to do right now. You're welcome. Welcome to the mud. Welcome to the trenches. No, you got to pull it out of the mud. But when community exists, and that's why most people think they don't need community, because they're benefiting from it, even though they're not contributing to it. And I ain't talking about this one. I'm talking about just larger community in itself, right? Oh, this is good. So you create the opportunity, first, second, third order consequences, for someone to say, you have to think, what do you think that makes an 11-year-old determine that they want to work for the Lord, or make a 15-year-old determine that actually for the rest of my life, that this is what I want to do? Is that this becomes an option, that this is an option. This is actually an option. This is something I can do with my life. I can spend my life going and telling other people about the goodness of God and then building things around that. Yeah. But you know what is currently not an option? I mean, it wasn't. What's currently not an option is, you mean to tell me that I can actually go out there and use my life to help other people be better people and find better ways to connect and celebrate themselves? You mean to tell me that's actually a career? That's actually an option? It wasn't, but it can be. First, second, third order consequences. I think on that level. But not only that, have you ever been perusing through YouTube, or y'all heard me announce NanoCon is coming up this weekend, and I'm going to be there. Seth Andrews is going to be there. Candace Gorham is going to be there. Gail Jordan is going to be there. You're going to have a lot of folk there. And have you ever said, man, I wish something like that was happening in my city? But see, that actually is what secular community allows you to do. because then you don't have to wait for a convention to come, because then you have a community, you have a platform, and then you can just let your people email their people and say, hey, when do you have available? Or, and I'm giving you free game. Damn it, you're getting mastermind stuff. Or if you're smart about it, you go look at their calendar and you find out when they're going to be the closest to your city and when they're traveling. And so that way, when you reach out to them, you can reach out to them and say, hey, I see you're going to be close to such and such around this time. Listen, we have a magnificent community over here, and they absolutely love your work, and we could benefit from having your voice in a conversation in one of our Sunday sessions. Would you like to participate? Bam! You see how easy that was? You know, sorry. Like, I did not expect to share this much. God damn, I didn't expect to share this much. But yeah, these are things that you can do when you're a community. When you're not a part of an intentional community, it doesn't mean you can't make that happen. That's just going to be one big ass hill to climb. Okay? Like, you call and say, hey, can I get Seth Andrews to come to my house and just speak to me? Like, making that happen is probably, that one's probably out there. That one's, you might get put on a special list for that. Or even say, you know what? I'd love for Seth Andrews to come to this city. I'm going to organize it. Right? You can make that happen. You could figure out, okay, how much does it cost to rent the place? How much it costs to do marketing and advertising? Because I do want to make sure that I get a good turnout on the people, unless I'm just doing this all for the good of my heart. Don't care if I get a return on investment. Then I don't care if people show up or not. You know, just if it's just Seth and me in the audience sitting down and it's just me out there, fine. Okay, that's what you want. You can do that. But that is an uphill battle. All right. But if you're already a part of an intentional community, and there are other people in your community who say, man, y'all, we really love Seth Andrews, then you actually already have the people you need to form that event. And then you might say, well, it's not just Seth we like that black dude too named Darante. Hello. You know, see how I did that? Dang, I like this pose. I am a Levain at times, and I can see myself. So most time y'all think I'm looking at you, and I'm really looking at me. Oh, see, you're so vain. You thought I was looking at you this whole time. Okay, let me get back to this. Y'all are too silly. Stop being so silly, y'all. Damn, this is atheist church. It's not supposed to be silly. I think it is, though. Okay, let's go. And then cultural celebrations. Cultural celebrations. You have a space, a reason, and a place to celebrate diverse traditions and holidays within the community. And you actually get to do it in a way that is absolutely without the superstition, and in a way that is more educational, in a way that you can honor different cultural traditions within your community, knowing that we live in a world where most people have to hide their cultural traditions. These are things that community gives us the power to create space for. So if you're a host or a leader or any type of volunteer, what's your role in this part of building community? Your role is to promote inclusivity. All right? Ensure that any activities that you're planning, that they are welcoming to all members. Your role is to facilitate learning opportunities. Identify and share resources that encourage exploration and encourage open dialogue. Create spaces for respectful decisions, discussions. Damn, I'm getting twisted. Oh, I like that. Cross-communitying. I like that. I like that. All right, so next one. And this is probably one of my favorites. And then we're going to zag a little bit. This is probably one of my favorites. Community arts and entertainment, which it should be no secret. I hit this one. I talk about this one. I tell you, like, as a kid growing up who, my family couldn't afford musical instruments for me, and my school, the type of musical programs that it had, which was Rehoboth Elementary, go Rebels, yikes. They weren't doing the type of music that I was excited about. But church was. Church had access to it had access to instruments, access to musicians, and a place to perform every fucking week. Like, I had a regular gig, man. And I'm like, it would be sad to me when I look at the context of what many people have planned for the secular community. Because like I wouldn't have found anything in that world that speaks to my creative side. And I would have wanted that, you know? And especially the church did such a great job of tapping into something that's always been really important to me as an artist, which I didn't know that was a part of my artistry. I thought it was a part of my anointing. But something that was really important to me as an artist was that I wanted to do stuff that made people feel. You know, that's why, like, the school band, I was like, nah, I get some people feel that, but like, no, I want to do real shit, you know, and that was me, you know. But if I did not have, if in a world where that didn't exist, there was no alternative. There was no alternative. For whatever reason, other people hadn't made that a part of their concerns, you know. And then when you think about that, what happens to music? Again, going back to this first, second, third order consequences. If all religion dies, and then there's no places that are committed, and I'm not saying religion has to be the thing to do this, right? Anybody could be doing it. The question is, why isn't anybody else doing it? Why isn't it more widespread? Why is the church the only widespread institution that creates this space? And if it is, then what happens to music? You know, that's first, second, third order consequences right there. What happens to music 150 years from now? You know? So many people who make music today, incredible music, they share that point of connection. You know? Not because the church was so fun for them, not because the church was the best of the best, but because it was the only place for the artist that wants to sing or play an instrument, oh man, or speak. And this is why we build Brit City kind of the way that we do, because we don't want to leave those people out in the cold, you know? And maybe then our shit wouldn't be so boring if we actually built music into it. Let's think about that. All right, I'm just saying. All right, so arts and entertainment brings people together, fostering connections through shared experience and expressions. Okay? So I want to give us 3 ways that arts enrich the community. Number 1, emotional expression. Number 2, community identity. And number 3, mental well-being. Okay? The arts, again, whether we're talking painting, singing, dancing, instrumentation, the arts provide outlets for expressing emotions and telling stories. You know, and I hope that what you're seeing by now is that community is more than just a buzzword. It's an ecosystem, you know? And so it gives us shared artistic endeavors, strengthen communal bonds and identities. And that's almost like being a part of any team, but there's something special about being a part of a team of singers, a team of musicians. Those are bonds, man, that are just out of this world. And then, of course, participation in the arts reduces stress and enhances happiness. Yeah, just simple things, you know? And so practical applications, like, yes, for us, for the Brit City model, yeah, music should be a part of our gatherings every time we gather. Like, if we know the science on it, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? No, let's get a team of incredible musicians, incredible singers. Let's find some incredible songs that uplift, that create moments of wonder and awe, that create moments of reflection, that create moments of celebration and affirmation that helps us undo some of this negative self-talk that we've developed, some of the stuff that helps us sit with ourselves in a sense of safety with other people around us. Y'all ain't ready to talk about this, though. These are the practical applications of this. We'd integrate it. But even beyond that, you can offer classes in music, classes in dance, painting, or creative arts. Excuse me. The sad thing about the church, I think, about the church system, is that while it did excel in creating spaces for those of us who were creative, it damn sure limited the confines of what that meant. And so, like, if you wanted to dance at church, you had to be doing all of this and only that. Like, you couldn't just do any type of dance. And we weren't going to do salsa, which I would love to be a part of a community that has a weekly salsa class. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, now I'm kind of geeking out a little bit. I don't even know if you can see it in my head, because then I just imagine, like, holy crap, you know how cool it would be if there was a big band swing night. I can just relive the 20s, and even though I've never lived the 20s. See, that's going to get used against me one day. Someday, somebody's probably going to claim like I'm a vampire or some shit. See, he said it. He's reliving the 20s. But no, I do like big band, jazz and swing, and just like, damn, that stuff community allows you to do, right? You can organize talent shows, concerts, or theater productions beyond just the weekly session. Are you beginning to see how community, again, it isn't just a buzzword, it's an ecosystem of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So, how sometimes you're sitting at home and you're like, damn, I wish I could do this. Or, damn, I wish my city had one of these. When you are a part of a local community, you can actually say, I wonder how many other people in the community would want to do this. And then instead of your city having to have one, you get to create one. All right, so I'm going to give you an example. Churches do this all the time. They get away with this shit. I'm about to tell you something. Oh, my goodness. Churches get away with this shit all the time. They get away with it. Now, I'm being a little facetious here. I don't think any of them are doing it this way, because if they were, that would actually be smart. And that's just not something that they do a lot of. But, a lot of times, a church community will put together like a raffle night. On their raffle night. And everybody gonna come in there, they're gonna do little stuff, they're gonna play little games. Now, what it is illegal, it's an illegal gambling operation, is what it is, I tell you. Actually, it's actually legal gambling, but many of the churches, they'll do that. And I said that because you're like, damn, I ain't been to the casino in a long time. Well, when you are a part of a community, you can do that. You just make your own damn casino. Please don't run it like a real casino, or you will go to jail. But if you just want the experience, and actually, if you are a nonprofit, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, please don't go out there and start no casinos because I said so. Don't do that shit to me. Don't do that shit to me. But when you're a part of a community, oh yes, they'll do it for a building fund in a heartbeat. When you're a part of a community, you give yourself options of things that you want to do. It's so much bigger than just having a place to go. It's having the ability to construct your world, to construct your opportunities. And that extends to not just you, but to everybody that you're connected to, So like, when you're a part of a community, man, it's like, imagine, like, this is one of the weirdest things that is so cool about community, that if you do not have a community, you likely do not get to experience, right? But when you're a part of a community, you get to be in the middle of a conversation, right? And you can just be like, hey, y'all, I'm moving next week. And people will be like, hey, you need some help? And they will like show up with trucks and ladders and shit if you live upstairs, and will help you move your shit. But if you are not a part of a community and you're just sitting at Starbucks one day, he's like, hey, I'm moving next week. Good for you, motherfucker. That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get if they're colorful. like me. But no, like we overlook these things, man. Is this good? Is this good, y'all? Okay. All right. So you can organize things, and then you can showcase the local art, the artist's work in community spaces. Like this is really about being able to this is why our BC 101 course is called How We Change the World. Because I'm hoping that if you see this and if you're hearing this, then you see like, oh, communities is really just the basic building block of getting anything done effectively as a group of people. It's participating with life to get the outcomes we want. Oh man, this is powerful. This is powerful. All right, now if you're a host or you're a leader, your role in this is like, man, support local talent. Encourage members to share their artistic skills. Y'all knowing that art is a major big part of art, creativity, and innovation is a major part of this whole ecosystem. Encourage yourself and encourage others to explore the possibilities of how ways we can use our different artistic talents to uplift, right? To inspire, to create moments of awe, or just even to tell our stories. Like, so encourage members to share their artistic skills, plan and execute arts-related activities and programs, and build them into the life activity of the community. I think something that I would actually like to do, Robert, I don't know if you're watching. If you are, remind me about this if I forget. But when I'm in Southern California, I think one of the things that I would like to do, I don't know. I'm planning on being there in October. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if there's enough time, because that's how I think. Like there's a bunch of different variables, but it would be so cool to just have like a deconstructing jam session or shed, just because I promise you there has to be a just plethora of musicians and singers in Southern California who were a part of praise teams or worship teams or choirs or anything like that, that have deconstructed and do not have a safe place to just do their art and let that stuff kind of just pour and just do it with community without superstition. And I'd love to have at least one session like that, man. And as a matter of fact, I think if I do end up getting a session like that, and we get that thing like video recorded, it become absolutely abundantly clear why music is a necessity. Like it's a feature. You know what I'm saying? All right. And then of course promote accessibility. That was the beautiful thing about me growing up, is because church had these musical programs every week, it gave me a great sensation or a great appreciation, rather, a great sense of appreciation of just how important art was and just how powerful music was, especially for me. All right, so next one, and I got to get ready to wrap this thing up. We've talked about a lot. Here's one that most people do not think of, but it is one that I spent the last 5 years being a pastor making sure that I taught at least my leaders at my church how to maximize as far as being a part of a community. And that is, are you ready for this one? This is what I'll tell you, zags a little right here. Professional skills and team development. Communities are rich opportunities for developing professional skills and fostering teamwork. All right, so I'll give you a few advantages of this: skill sharing, networking opportunities, and teamwork experience. So first and foremost, you get to learn from other people's experience. You get to learn from other people's expertise in whatever area that accounts for you. Now, what I did, and I think I've mentioned this before, I think I mentioned it the Sunday I had the conversation with either Kyle or Drew. But what I did the last few years, last 5 years that I was a pastor of Kingdom Central, I took all the like traditional titles out of my church. Like nobody was a minister of anything anymore. Nobody were elders anymore. Nobody were prophets or evangelists or anything like that. So everybody got a different name, and they got their responsibilities listed out. And so they became chief of staff, chief financial officer, media director, just really cut like whatever this responsibility is, what is the actual function of it? And that's what we're going to call it. So we removed all of this. And the reason why I did this is because I was already toying with the idea that I didn't think I'd be a pastor anymore. And I started wrestling with pastor then will mean absolutely bullshit on my resume. And I'm one of those type of people, the moment I think about something for me, I have to think about it for the other folks too. And so then I started thinking, like, does that mean that all of these people who are doing this excellent work for me, because I got, their title is minister of such and such, that this is something that they may not even think can translate, even though they're doing all of these things that are actual work, So that's why I did that for them, because I realized, like, no, in all actuality, what these people are doing is no different than what anybody in any other organization would have to do. And so I'm actually robbing them by over-spiritualizing their contribution. I'm actually robbing them not only of their value in the job market, but I'm robbing them of even understanding the depth of their value. You know what I'm saying? Because in their mind, I'm just doing this for God, and God is making all this happen, and which means two things can be happening there. Number one, I'm not taking it serious and not even using this as an opportunity. You ever went for, oh, this is good. I just went back to Mastermind D. You ever went for a job that you didn't qualify for, and you knew you didn't qualify for it, but you were going to try it by faith anyway, because we do shit like that. And sometimes it works. Many times you can bluff your way through there. And Mastermind conversation, I can tell you why, and I can tell you how. But you go in there and say, you're not qualified. And then they say something to you like, well, hey, you're not qualified. And you say something like, well, how am I supposed to get qualified if nobody's going to hire me? Any volunteer organization that exists gives you those opportunities, right? But most volunteer organizations that exist only gives you volunteer opportunities to do things that you wouldn't really want to do. Communities create leadership volunteer opportunities. Communities create finance volunteer opportunities. Communities create educational volunteer opportunities. And so there are plenty of things that, yes, there may not be somebody else who will give you a chance, But if you're a part of a community, they can create that opportunity for you to start giving yourself those skills, to learning how to do it. As a matter of fact, just free game right here. Like if you've ever said, like, there's this thing that I really want to do, and I know I can't afford the training program, and I know no one is going to hire me, even in an apprenticeship or anything like that, then community is your best bet. Especially one like this one. Because one like this one, what you could be wanting to do could be literally anything, and we probably found a way to use it. Yeah, we make that happen. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, but anyway, so it helps. So you can learn from each other's expertise, and then these connections made can lead to further career advancements and further collaborations. Before I ever started working in corporate, I was already overqualified to work there. Before I ever worked in corporate America, I was already overqualified to be there. They was underpaying me from day one because I had already overqualified myself with my years of experience, even before becoming a pastor, in volunteer organizations. That's how some of them kids in high school get ahead sometimes. They're part of all them damn clubs where they actually have to do shit. Like them them yearbook club people, they be successful in life. If your kids is in yearbook club, they're gonna do well because their asses worked. You know, them people who was doing them committees, like you talking about the people on the stage at homecoming. No, the motherfuckers that put that thing together, that was professional skills development. That was team development. Those people likely, and I am overgeneralizing here for sure, but you know, that's what you can do. But those people likely traveled into their next phase of career with a better understanding of most other kids. Yes, them student councils, come on. Like, because that's community creates opportunity, y'all. I hope y'all see it. All right, so you can offer and of course, and in community projects, provide practical experiences in teamwork and leadership. Every community project is an opportunity to get qualified in project management. It is. And then I'll just speak this out. Project management as a career, that's not going anywhere anytime soon, because it's so people oriented, and I like people oriented stuff. But so yeah, you can offer training sessions on topics like leadership, communication, even project management. You can engage in initiatives that require collaborative effort, enhancing team skills. Even when you're doing service-oriented projects, and hear me well, hosts and leaders, even when you're doing community-oriented projects or service-oriented projects, like say, hey, we're going to feed the homeless, you can diversify the volunteer support. So, okay, we know the vast majority of people who are going to be involved in this project are just going to be handing stuff out, right? But by allowing everybody feasibly, as you feasibly can, right? Allowing people who are interested in being a part of the managing of that, being a part of the conversation, that gives them experience and exposure to those type of conversations. And then eventually you'll need people to actually manage the event and manage different parts of it. And in a volunteer aspect, you don't necessarily have to be lean. Okay, lean is trying to do stuff with the least amount of people. The problem with that in a volunteer capacity, volunteer context, is then you just create a whole bunch of human sacrifices. You know, because then there's one person doing everything. But no, you find ways to diversify the responsibility, so that way more people get more opportunity to try different things. I hope this is making sense. And then host meetups focused on industry-specific networking. So again, you're building a bridge. If you're building a hub for Bridge City, you're building a Bridge City hub. It's about personal development. It's about community development. Those are driving your Sunday sessions. Those are driving the Sunday sessions, whether you are streaming me in or you have someone there who's confident and certified as a communicator for Bridge City, and they're doing it. That's the Sunday conversation. That's the main conversation, right? But you may notice, like, okay, we have a lot of people in our church who are in sales, or we have a lot, I said church, didn't I? Or we have a lot of people in our community who are in talent acquisition, or we have a lot of people in our community who are in healthcare. And then you ask yourself the question, would it be beneficial to organize something for that aspect of our community? And then the way you ask yourself a question as a community is you ask the community. You say, hey, we noticed like 70% of you work in healthcare in some way. And because we're a community that exists for our members to be better, I mean, that's the thing. We're trying to be a better way to connect, which means we're intentionally thinking about ways to bring some type of betterment to your life. Would you benefit from us putting together some type of event that's focused on your industry, that's focused on how you can, whatever, that gives you more people to network, that gives you more understanding, more education, more resources? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is hell yeah. As long as we live in a society that I gotta work, if you're gonna help me do it, let me know. Let me know if you got ways for me to do this better, if you got ways for me to navigate this differently. And again, it goes back to where I kind of started this at. One of the most powerful things about community is having somebody to say, hey, you want to do this thing with me? It's having somebody to say that to, and having someone on the other side who say, yeah, okay, I'll do it. That's a powerful thing. That's a game changer. Any idea you have, you're going to have to fight through depression if you don't have that. You know? Okay. All right. So if you're a host or a leader, your role is to identify needs, assess the professional development interest of community members, utilize the skills within the community to teach and mentor others. And this is, oh my goodness, especially because I see Bridge City Global as being one of the most diverse institutions on this planet. Like that's what I see. And I mean that across the spectrum. And so I just got excited in my head because again, this is just the value that people have for each other. When you think about people who probably struggled their whole lives finding a career or finding to make some sense of their life, and they get to be partnered, they're part of a community that has other people who they got 99 problems in their career isn't one. Like that is just rich opportunity right there. Like just, some people, the one thing they've always wanted is just one person in the family who was doing okay that they could ask some questions to. Like I just need one person in the family where I just say, okay, how you do this? How do I navigate this? There are powerful conversations there. So you assess not only the professional development interest in the community among the community members, but also the actual the available talent resource that is there, or the available knowledge base of information that is there. If you have someone in the community who has been a lawyer for several years, and is willing to make some of that information available, then you need to book them for a session. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we're gonna have a community night, and see, those are also great ways when you're looking for other stuff to do during the week, is actually taking an inventory of the stories that exist within your communities and finding different ways that you can build conversations around those. And that is something that, as we get more organized, I'll spend some time with our leaders and our communicators talking through. All right, so also leverage expertise, utilize the skills within the community to teach and mentor others, and then encourage collaboration. Facilitate projects that require teamwork. And you see that's kind of like a common thing. Facilitate projects that require teamwork, fostering a collaborative spirit. I'm gonna tell you right now, one of the things that's gonna happen, like, and I'm not claiming to be like prophetic or no bullshit like that. This is just first, second, third order consequences. One of the things that's gonna happen if we do Bridge City well, if we do Bridge City wherever you are well, and they start sparking up wherever you are. So let's say we have Bridge City, LA, and let's say we also have Bridge City, San Diego, and then we also have Bridge City, San Francisco, and then say we got Bridge City, Portland, and then we have Bridge City, Chicago, Bridge City, Detroit, Bridge City, Raleigh, Bridge City, Atlanta, Bridge City, Austin, maybe Dallas. You get these bridge cities all over the place. I'm gonna tell you right now, and it's gonna shock so many of you, but I'm gonna tell you, and don't be mad when it happens, because it's a good thing. It's a good thing, as long as keep their asses in check now. But what's gonna happen is literal thousands of Christians are gonna leave their churches in preference for a Bridge City location. Mark my words. Mark my words. It's going to happen. All right, here's this next one. And we got to go. Overflow. All right. Next part, collective work and economics. This is another one that is often overlooked. All right. By pooling resources and efforts, communities can achieve economic goals that benefit all of their members. If you haven't gone through BC 101 yet, when you do go through it, pay very close attention to how we approach finances at Bridge City Global. I think you'll be impressed. All right, so the benefits here are easy: resource sharing, community projects, and supporting the local economy. Shared assets reduce individual costs and increase efficiency. You know, community projects allows us to have joint ventures, which can generate income and provide services. Because we're not believers, we're not superstitious, so we don't have to be beholden to, oh, you just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. It can be, well, we're actually doing this because this is good math. That's why you do the bake sale. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to popular belief, nobody is baking those cookies out of the goodness of their heart. They doing it because the church got a bad roof, okay? And they know the pastor's preaching is not good enough to get any real money in that church. So they coming together out of the goodness of their heart to support the pastor, not to bake them cookies. Because they just want to see their pastor there, but they know ain't nobody gonna come and fix that roof. So they gotta bake them cookies and cakes and pies, because ain't nobody gonna give that shit. Not the way that motherfucker preach. Ain't nobody. No, y'all might as well know that building fund ain't itching up today. Y'all heard what y'all was here. You know, there's one of those churches where they do like an altar call every Sunday, and the people looking back at him like, motherfucker, you can count who in here. You know there's not a new person in here. I don't even know why you looking at this direction. You want me to pretend? And who am I pretending for? We all related. Everybody know what are we doing? You know? So they say, no, we're gonna go bake these little cookies and these pies. I'm sorry, I did not mean to do this. Damn. But you gotta tell it, you know. You gotta tell it. But it always amazes me. And you know, the churches that started getting this shit right, like some churches just finally got it. And it was like, okay, instead of just selling this shit every time we in trouble, why not just put a little coffee shop right here in the front? That was one of the smartest things churches could have done. Smartest thing. And I'm not saying that tongue in cheek. I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm not saying that sarcastically. I mean it. That was probably one of the most responsible things that churches started doing. And you will notice that churches who started doing stuff like that, one of those things that those churches started shifting away from are tithes and offerings. Because the goal, once you get there, is like, you don't want your community to be dependent on people who can't afford, you know? That's what happens in a lot of the other churches. Yikes. Okay, let's go. And so joint ventures within the community can generate income and provide services for the people who are a part of that community. And then this also becomes encouraging for local businesses, and this strengthens the community's economic base. And that's really, like, I could have just said economic base, and that should have been enough. Because that's really the problem right now, is that we don't have any economic basing as a community. So like right now, every time we want to do something, we have to beg for it. And that's not a great place to be, you know? And so again, like I'll use that example, or use a similar example. Earlier I said, like, when you're part of an intentional community, sometimes you can do stuff and be like, hey, I'm moving next week. And people are like, oh, okay, when? But also, when you're a part of an intentional community, you can say, oh, I came up $200 short on my rent. I cannot believe this happened. I am so fucking embarrassed. Shit. And you can have people in your community who say, oh, I think we might be able to help with that. You know, that's what intentional community gives us. I love this. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Ox Pecker. Interesting. Mutual dependency is pivotal to social well-being. Absolutely. 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 And I hope I didn't miss anybody's super chat, y'all. I'm sorry. I am trying to actually engage today, since I had to change up today's conversation last minute. But has it been good? Has this been a conversation worth tuning into? Has this been something that's been helpful for you? All right. So And then just some practical applications here. And I like to zig with this stuff because anytime you're talking about economics, people's mind always go one way or another. And like, yes, money is a part of economics. It is not the only medium of economics. Money is not the only form of currency, right? So, and we should just always think about that, right? Because I find that sometimes we overvalue, and I'm not necessarily trying to underinflate the dollar or anything, but I find like we sometimes overvalue money to the point of undervaluing people, you know? And so I'm like, you know, so sometimes people are like, well, we ain't got no money, so we can't do this. And I'm like, but we got people. And really the main thing you use money for is to get more people. Okay, at the end of the day, you know? And so if you already have the people, then you're already ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what hip hop understood. This is how hip hop came to be. It's like, no, we may not got the money, but we got the people. And so this is why, like back in the day, it used to be like 50 motherfuckers on one stage. That's hype value. That's gravitational pull. Man, this shit is physics. You know what I'm saying? You get 50 motherfuckers on the stage jumping up and down, people gonna look. People get curious, and they're gonna call it a good time. You know? That's what Bridge City is. Bridge City is gonna be 50 motherfuckers on the stage. Now let me stop. Okay. I feel like that was gonna come back to bite me in the ass. I do. We'll find out. We'll all be there together. Okay. Man. Oh, this is beautiful. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Okay, so practical applications of this. Think you can do community gardens, right? You can grow food collectively to share among members or sell locally. Okay? I suggest both, you know, and the reason I would suggest both, because it allows you to be more sustainable in your operations and like keeps you away from that slippery slope of running a fucking slave camp, which many volunteer organizations can do, you know? So I encourage all nonprofits to embrace hybrid models. If you value people, we don't live in this world anymore where we believe that God rewards people for their heart. People have to eat, people have lives, people have children. They want to look decent. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, if the stuff is only costing them less than 4 hours a week every now and then, okay, you ain't got to pay them $500. I get it. I get it. But if you got anything that's ever, like, you always have to be considering, like, how much is this costing people and why are we making them do this for, give us this for free? Like, until we no longer live in that type of world, to approach anything without that awareness is irresponsible to me. To me, I'm not saying it has to be irresponsible to you. Some people don't like to look at things like that. But to me, I know some of y'all just believe, I don't believe in free. I don't know what the fuck free is. So if anybody's doing something, it's costing them. Okay? It's costing them. And so leaders, if you're listening, and that's a real tug of war. So anyway, hybrid. I suggest hybrid, right? You want to be able to share among your members, but you also want to be able to sell locally to outsiders, to people who can afford, which makes you more sustainable, gives you a more sustainable revenue for your community, so your community isn't having to be a burden on the people in your community who can't afford to support the community financially, but can support with their time or creativity or anything like that. But it also gives you access to surplus supplies, which allows you to innovatively assist with problems like hunger and food deprivation and food deserts. You see, it allows you to be a greater solution. Man, like, have you ever had an idea like that and was just like, oh, I wish I had some people I could talk about something like this with? See, what you were missing there was Bridge City. More specifically, what you were missing was community. And just to be absolutely clear, and this will be to my detriment, but it's not a lie, it's the whole truth. You don't need Bridge City to do it. You can decide, hey, I like what he's talking, I'm just going to do it myself. And you could. And I wouldn't be mad, because, as I've said, my goal is just to see as many communities spring up as possible that are people-centric. You know? Yeah. I'm going to take the credit whether you give me the credit anyway. Now, I'm going to do that. But I won't be mad. I won't be mad. So yeah, you can community gardens. You can establish member-owned enterprises that serve community needs. And damn it, I'm back in kind of mastermind mode, but that's a big one, right? Establish member-owned enterprises that serve community needs. Pick a need, and this is as you grow. This is as you grow your local community. But pick a need, and then meet it. You know, I used to jokingly tell people, and it's a joke, but it's reality. Like if you have a church, and everybody in your church, oh, I love this. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Jerry Garcia is God. Oh, I love that. Jesus, the reigning hide and seek champion in the world, man. But I used to tell churches, okay, if you got a church and 70% of your members like to eat at Subway, at least 2 or 3 times a week, the members of your church are eating at Subway. Now, this is a very mild example, and it can be anything. But if you know that 70% of your members, the members of your community, like Subway, eat at Subway, then why not just make sandwiches and sell them? You know what I'm saying? Just sell you some sandwiches, get as close to Subway recipe as you can without, violating. Do the McDowell's. Do a McDowell strategy. Y'all saw it. Mm-hmm. But no, you meet the need. So many people are looking over opportunity because we're still looking over the rainbow for shit. And opportunity is not at the end of a fucking rainbow. You know what I'm saying? Opportunity is not in some fucking magic beans. Opportunity is just paying attention to the life around you. It is literally everywhere. But it is literally driven, and this is Mastermind D now. It is literally driven by the desires to meet needs. It's driven by desire to solve problems. And when you have a community that is working together, you have a fucking competitive advantage in solving problems. All right. So certain people out there like, damn, man, I really wish there was some better after school programs. If you have an intentional community, you have a competitive advantage in creating a better after school program. You think teachers are overworked, and you know that this country is not going to do shit about it, and they're not going to do about it anytime soon. Sure, you can't save them, but maybe if you're a part of an intentional community, maybe one of the things you could do is just host little goodie bags for the teachers. It can be small shit. It can be big shit. Because that's the power of a community. Yes, carpool. Come on now. You can do time banks, exchange services based on time contributed rather than money. And the beautiful thing is, as a community, you can experiment with economic alternatives. All right, so for my host and leaders of this one, for this one, your role is to organize initiatives, lead the planning and execution of collective economic projects. First, with determining how do you communicate the economic model of your local campus. When does your local campus even start talking about economics? It's not always a day one conversation, especially with the type of work that we do. Educate members, provide information on the benefits and logistics of collective efforts, and then foster participation. Encourage members to contribute their skills and their resources. All right. And then now we are finally at the last one. This is the one that rules them all, right? This is the one that rules them all. It's a core and catalyst for change. That's what community is. It's a core and catalyst for change. Communities are the core from which meaningful change radiates, acting as catalysts for societal improvement. So unified communities can advocate effectively for policies and reforms. You know, man, rallying individuals is not nearly as effective as rallying communities. Okay? And right now, every time the secular community realizes that there's a threat to human liberation, it has to go back to the drawing board of rallying individuals nationally and globally. Hear me well. That's bad strategy. We need to make sure that we are able to rally communities. But that will not happen if they do not exist. Okay? Because then the communities can do the work of not having to rally people, but actually supporting people. I hope you just see how that switched up, right? This is why rallying individuals is problematic. Because the fact that they're individuals likely means that they're not supported. So when we want to rally them, we need to make sure that they've already been supported by us. I hope that makes sense. So unified communities, again, let's do this. Let's say we got Bridge City, LA, Bridge City, San Francisco, Bridge City, Texas, Bridge City, Australia, Bridge City all over the damn place, right? And something is happening. We're not having to spend millions on an ad campaign and send one email to all of our networks and say, hey, this is what's happening. Let's start rallying the people. You know, that's just good math. That's just good math. That's all that is. All right. Innovation hubs, collaborative environments foster innovative solutions to local issues, which then allow us to get a better understanding of global issues. And then you get stronger social support systems. Strong communities provide the foundation for resilience and adaptation. It is much easier to deal with hardship when you're a part of a community than when you're not. And like I'll even take note. Like I've had people, I've been around people who know how passionate I am about community. And they've said it. You probably heard some of them say it. I don't really think I need community.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
I was not talking to you. Alexa just did that. I don't know why. I shouldn't have said her name. Dang it. Now she's going to say something else. But yeah, you've heard people say it. You've heard people say like, oh, I don't need community. Community is not that important to me. And every time it's always very clear to me that they're thinking about this very shallow idea of kumbaya. Because then in cases with the people that I'm thinking about, it became very clear that they did need community. You know, they just had never thought about it that way. Anytime I see somebody having an emergency that they need help with, I'm like, man, that's a moment that community would have really benefited, you know, because the problem is the other way is, oh, okay, this is mastermind level talk. And this one is probably going to get really offensive, but it is what it is. If we're not careful when we're being, here's the thing. There's just no way you can live life and life doesn't happen, right? Life happens. You got to get that in your head. Life happens. There's nothing you can do as of now that we know of to guarantee or to keep life from happening to you. Life will happen. So everybody you know is going to go through hard times, period. Everybody you know. Everybody you don't know is going to go through hard times, period. Everybody you know is going to need some help from somebody at one point, period. All right? So once you start recognizing that, then you're going to recognize that shit, people are always going to be in need. And if we're not careful, we become drains on each other. Because then every time we're in need, we're just going to put that need out there. And then other people, because they know you don't have community, they're going to make some decisions that are probably not great for them financially. You know? Because they know, dang, if I don't do this, this person may not get it. And that's the thing that we all wrestle with if we care, right? And then we're right back in the same cycle we were in when we was in church. Given when we can't really afford to give, except for this time, the obligation is someone's emergency, right? And see, I know what that feels like because that's what pastoring was for me all the time. I always had to give when somebody asked, you know? But when we're actually a part of intentional community that understands that life is going to happen and our members are going to be in need, then we can actually have funds designated for those times. And we don't have to think it through on a shallow level. We can think it through, giving it the amount of complexity that it deserves. All right. So let's talk about a few practical applications. You can do advocacy campaigns. You can mobilize members to address social justice issues. Obviously, an issue that I do plan on doing a lot of advocating about, and this is because it's just taking too long, and that's cannabis laws in this country. I have some plans. We'll talk. But you can also do community forums, host discussions to identify local challenges, and brainstorm your solutions. Stop waiting for somebody else to think tank your shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how you give your table away. You give your table away when you let somebody else think tank your shit. Nope, you come, and I'm telling you, like what I'm showing, what we're doing with the community is you are reclaiming your seat at the table in your life. Okay. And then partnerships, collaborate with other organizations and communities for broader impact. Now, if you're one of those people who are tapping in to be a host or a leader, what you can begin doing is inspiring action. All right. Motivate members to engage in initiatives that promote positive change, facilitate collaboration by build bridges between different groups and organizations, demonstrate commitment to the community's missions through your actions. That's just leading by example. And so as leaders and volunteers, you play a pivotal role in harnessing the power of community to address personal, social, and economic challenges. By focusing on personal growth, social exploration, arts and entertainment, professional development, collective economics, and being catalysts for change, we create a holistic approach that uplifts individuals and transforms societies. Collectively, as I like to say, together, we can achieve more than we can do alone. Community involvement empowers individuals to reach their full potential. Lasting impact is made when communities unite toward their common goals. So your dedication to promoting Bridge City or community as a solution is instrumental in realizing our mission. By fostering environments where people can grow, learn, create, collaborate, and advocate, you're building bridges to better outcomes for everyone who's involved. By embracing community as a solution, you're not just addressing immediate needs, you're laying the foundation for a brighter, more connected future. Your efforts ripple outward, touching lives and inspiring others to join the movement. You know, this is why this is so important. This is why I am passionately committed to it. This is why it looks like I'll be flying out to Southern California in October to test pilot, possibly our first hub. This is why we have others that are popping up all over the place. And today, I hope I've shared enough with you to where you feel like you now have a picture of what it is that we're doing and why it's important. How this is not just let's build an atheist church. This is not just let's build another humanist religion. This is let's build the engine. Let's build the infrastructure that we need for the change that we desire, not only to see, but the change that we desire to be. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope that I've said something that has lifted you a little bit, added a little light into your life, and gave you a little inspiration. I hope it's made it a little easier for you to connect, whether you're getting connected with the bridge or whether you're just finding a better way to connect with yourself and the world around you. That is all I have for now. Let's see if I got some music for y'all to rock y'all out to. But until next time, man, y'all continue rising and be the bridge. Oh, nope, almost forgot. Y'all let me do it. I got to recognize our top fans. All right, and number 1, we got Mark David. Number 2, we got Jerry Garcia's is God. And number 3, we got, is it KA Cinema 96 or is it Ka Cinema 96? Either way, I'm feeling it. Y'all were our top 3 fans for today. If you email me at dl@dldd.us, I will send you out a free coupon for Windows Shop, and you'll be able to download any digital product on there that you want. All right, so now let me do my little closing again. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Until next time, be the bridge and keep rising. Actually, I liked it that way better. All right, y'all have a great one.